Word is nonsensical. I'd like to welcome everyone to our caucus for the regular city council meeting, City of Lackawanna, for August 16th, 2021. At our city caucus is when we go over preliminarily all the agenda items for our open discussion amongst the council members and input from the individual department heads, if pertinent. And to the public, we welcome all of our viewers this evening. The first item is of business with the roll call approval of minutes, and controller communications, city clerk and treasurer communications are all administrative. We'll deal with those at the regular meeting once that's called to order. Item number 8 is a letter containing several items from Council Member Ingram, First Ward. Councilman Ingram, do you want to address your concerns?
Yes. First, I know that the Empire Building Dynastic moving from the people to the former break game, which is I think is good, but we had no information on it. I don't want to read about it in the paper when we should be knowing something was coming in, especially in our ward stuff. You know, I try to be every day and I ask questions what is coming in our ward, whatever, so our residents, when they ask me, I can tell them. It was kind of surprising to read stuff in the paper and didn't have no idea. So, Rich, I'm just asking.
Okay, I'll go through it. About 3 months ago, there was a planning board meeting prior to acquisition put on the agenda as a contract vendee because they wanted to see if they could get all their approvals prior to acquiring the property by Empire Building Dismantlement, which is a fairly sophisticated demolition company. Probably the largest project they did recently was the Tri-Main building on Main Street. However, they did not acquire the property at that time. They were trying to see if what they wanted to do there could be done. They got site plan approval. I had not heard from them for a number of months, and they filed their deed, which I learned about for Buffalo Business First when they called me, kind of cold called me at my desk. I took the call and I answered their questions. That's how I learned they actually closed. They were not intending to go public until January because they're not planning on moving in until January. And in fact, their landlord read about it in the paper too. Buffalo Business First monitors deeds. They saw the recording in Lackawanna. There was an open planning board meeting, so I did disclose it. Since then, I've also had further conversations with the president of Empire Building Dismantle, and they're going to be looking to fill about 20 jobs. They're taking applications on Indeed, but that's the status of that. That's how it went public. It wasn't going public until it closed. They didn't tell me they closed.
Just saying, but don't do they have to register with us? I was asking.
They were not.
Business.
They have not registered for their business yet because they're not planning on opening till January.
My next question is about I've been asking about the tour of the Bethlehem Steel plant site. I was wondering why we have not been able to do that yet.
There's been a remediation that's been in the negotiations right now. The comment period ended last week. It's about a $55 million remediation if we get what we want, which DEC is pushing for. I have not been trying to get people on the site while we're in an arm's distance relationship with the owners of the site. That should end both the land sale, the next 90 acres, which is something we're pushing for, should be in September. And then if they oppose the final order will probably come out next month. I haven't been too anxious to do tours of the site while we're in an arm's distance relationship with the owner of that part of the site. Anytime we want to go on the site on the ECIDA property, I can arrange for that. The other two parcels, which are privately owned, I expect there'll be something in September on TMP, which is privately owned, where they'll invite some people on their site. Sucro, I can do a smaller group on that site, but that's where we're at. But at the same time, the biggest thing I think we got going on is that remediation and what happens on that. And at that point, I think we're going to be at an arm's length.
All right. My other question is the gas station. I'm gonna pass some pictures out so the council can see what I'm talking about. This is.
And Councilman, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we had a very lively and enthusiastic discussion. The Director of Development and I before I think he came in. There's some additional new information, at least new from my point of view. as to what is affecting the possible progress on that site and the regarding the owner, which I will share with you after this meeting. I don't think it's for personal public consumption, although it is a matter of public record at this time. I just don't wish it to be part of this meeting, but I will share that with you. And I think some other members of the council who might have been present, and Director Stanton was made aware of that earlier, which I don't think he had been aware prior to this time. But I'll share that with you a little later on. Please proceed with your question.
My concern is that we have to, individuals like this that buy property on our main road and stuff, and they just make us look like garbage. If you go there now, it look horrible, it just look bad. And you have bought other properties, whatever. I want to know if there's any way we can make sure that this does not happen again. That other businessmen or whoever can come to our cities, buy property and stuff like that. Don't do what they're supposed to do or whatever, and they just sit there and it's an eyesore for Lackawanna. I mean, I understand this, once they buy the property, maybe our hands tied, but this should never been, this been sitting too long or whatever. And they have the tendency to come to do stuff in Lackawanna like they can get away with it. Is there any way that we can protect the city of Lackawanna when they do buy, hold them more accountable for when they're supposed to build?
You asked I think it's 2 or 3 questions for me to give the best answer I can. With regards to this private sale of private property from one entity to another, we don't have power over that. With regards to property maintenance standards, we have power over that, but our power is to ticket and then put liens on the property or collect it through the taxes. We put 13 tickets on this property, I believe, in the past year, and then they become liens or get paid with the taxes. The bigger problem is, or the bigger conceptual problem, which is really for the council to consider, if with regard to certain types of major projects, if you want to add a bonding requirement to that, some municipalities do that. That will add to the cost of the project, but it'll also give you a potential remedy if a project stalls in the ground to get it finished. It's a complicated remedy. It's one to consider. Other than that, I'm kind of stuck with my property maintenance standards. We could put time limits on site plan approval, but then if we enforce a time limit on a site plan approval, we're stopping a project that we want to go forward, and what's the remedy? So it really is a question. It's a difficult question with regards to remedies. The project has been an eyesore. There's been very little done. Initially, at the beginning of COVID, I was told it was COVID related. I was told it was financing related. I was told it was moving forward as of about 5 to 6 months ago at a planning board meeting. He said he would be done in 4 months. It's been 5 months, I believe, since that meeting, and I've seen substantial sewer work, but all I've seen is sewer work. I have not seen the rest of it done. I've had plans received by my office about 2 to 3 months ago, but it definitely is a problem project, and there's another problem property by this property owner too, which he bought from a private party, and that's also been ticketed 13 times in the past year.
So
Yeah. Director Stanton, how many tickets did you say were issued?
I think it was 13 when I checked, and I think it was within the past year. It might have been a shorter time period than that, because I do ask them to go out every week and check the properties, because they're problem properties on our prime road.
Are those fines that are levied automatically?
They have a right to challenge a ticket by an administrative proceeding. The last tickets they put in to challenge, they didn't show up, so we found them responsible for them. There was no defense offered.
Aren't there any code violations other than that are being violated with the fact that it's not been a completed structure?
I don't think I have an unsafe, in sincerity, I do not think I have an unsafe structure, because there's 2 structures on it. There's a building there. There was broken glass and there was debris there. They got cited for that when they pulled stuff out of there. The canopy itself there's no reason to believe it's structurally unsound, but debris was yes, grass was yes. An unfinished structure, I don't think, or an unfinished project, I don't think we have a code provision on.
How long is the building permit?
I think it's 6 months, and they're passed if they don't do substantial amount of works. This particular building permit, they gave them, I think, 5 months, about
And how much is it to renew one?
$250.
So is the building permit in effect still or not?
I believe it is still, but it's close.
I can't hear you.
I believe it is, but it's very close to the end of it. I'd have to go check the records on when they were last in front of planning board, because there was a time limit put on it, which substantial progress has not really been made.
So if the building permit expires, what's the next recourse?
Come in for a new one again, Council President.
$250.
Well, the building permit could be denied, right?
The question,
And couldn't the conditions, further conditions be set for furthering and extending the building permit as to progress being made on a timely basis? Isn't that a possibility?
I've done it in court cases. I'd have to look at it in this because we only have the powers that are in our code right now. We don't have the power of a court order. In other words, the Shanghai Reds property in Buffalo was similar to this. There, because they were in court and there was a reverter clause and they were in threat of losing their property, we had a bag of money where they would lose money or we could spend money on the project to make sure it was completed. Unfortunately, here, we don't have that remedy in our books.
And Rich, there's 13 citations that were issued. Over what period of time were they issued?
I was within the past year. It may have been shorter than that because I think I've been sending them out more this year. Although I think the first ones were snow because they weren't clearing snow either in the wintertime.
And how often can they be issued?
I generally send out, on problem properties, I ask the inspectors to go out every week.
It can be issued once. How often?
I send them out every week. They could be, it's a daily. I could send them out every day. I've been sending them out every week on
And
property.
each time it's cited, there's a $200 fine?
And it goes up. So this thing, it starts at around 50 and it goes up to, I know it's 250 or
Well, who
400.
sets the,
It's a schedule set by the code.
I mean, the longer it goes unpaid, the higher it gets?
No, the more there are. So the first ticket is cheaper than this. First ticket's usually a warning. Second ticket is a fine. Third ticket is higher. Fourth ticket is higher.
So it's like recurring violations.
It's incrementally higher.
Okay.
Just keep citing them.
What, do we know if he's been paying those? Carol?
Oh, that would be a question for the treasurer. My
They
office.
don't report to you as far as income?
The treasurer will report tickets paid, but as far as individuals or detail, I don't get that.
Okay, thank you.
I got a question. So if we're citing these people and they're not paying, and if they come and apply for another application to do this project, wouldn't it be contingent that they pay all these fines first too on top of that? You know what I'm
If they
saying?
start a third project, you mean?
Well, no, let's say this project, you talked about the idea that the project is gonna expire, the permit's gonna expire. So if they come for another permit for $250, and there's also 13 outstanding fines.
I think he said they can add it to their taxes, so
Okay, I see.
if they don't pay, right, it gets added, is that what?
That was our enforcement mechanism.
And they are paying their taxes?
I'm not, again, I did not check the taxes.
Okay,
before this
yeah,
meeting.
I'm just curious.
Well, if not, they'll lose the property to taxes.
Yeah, exactly.
So my question is, you have another piece of property on Ridge Road, and he's getting fined for that for not doing what he's supposed to do.
Absolutely right.
So my goal is, what I would like to, so this doesn't continue happening, not just this individual, so other individuals can do it. Because at the end of the day, all of this is an eyesore for the citizen.
So what I would suggest is, if his building permit expires, we don't renew it, send him a letter. And if he comes back to renew it, make him come clean on all his fines up to that date before we reissue or extend the building permit.
But theoretically, we could go through the same thing again once the new building permit is issued. The same thing could start all over again.
You've done housing court.
That's why I know this is what's coming. I actually get blamed for all this.
I mean,
That's why it's such a
we stress
strong-
compliance, right? But I, the first ward, it's an eyesore.
And not only because because Rich come down, because Rich did come down, because they had people doing work that they weren't. I don't think they were. We worried about safety, you know what I'm saying? I'm just tired of seeing what they doing when they come in the first ward. You think that people are not paying the rules and regulations set by the city, and we've been lenient, and they're not paying. They just think they can do what they want.
Is there a time frame and when this thing's actually gonna be finished?
The last time frame I had was at the last planning board meeting where I believe they said within 4 months, and I think they gave them an approval for 6 months. I didn't pull the minutes before here, but that's my recollection of that last meeting when they were in front of us, probably 4 months ago.
So what's been finished versus what's gotta be finished?
Okay,
The tanks are in the ground?
yeah, the underground storage tanks, which are a big part, are in the ground. The canopies, which was a big part, were in the ground, but they've been in the ground for a long period of time now. The sewer work was extensive because there's a series of storage tanks as part of the sewer work. So there's 36-inch lines in lines of about 20 feet, 30 feet long. That's why you see those giant catch basins on site right now, to collect stormwater so it doesn't all go into the stormwater system. I believe they were making their connections in the road about a week ago. My sense of time's not right. It might be 10 days ago, week to 2 weeks ago. They were making connections in the road to the subsurface line. So that's what I've seen. So in the past month, I have seen some activity, but for a number of months while I was expecting this project to progress significantly, I didn't see progress.
Rich, the weeds have been in the property longer than any of the lines.
I delete the weeds, and there was also glass in those weeds. So they were cited for debris for the glass. There was some metal left out. They were cited for that. Then they cut the weeds. I think at least I remember once because I was walking by when they were cutting the weeds right after we cited them. I remember the glass getting picked up too, but there's definitely, we're not seeing what we want. It's a problem project.
I mean, the weeds are there, I can sit there, you can hide me, it's just ridiculous. And then on the side of the other neighbors that have complained about it, it's all infringing on their property or whatever. Yeah.
Well, as Councilman Ingram had indicated earlier, I think we need to strengthen our procedure for issuing building permits. It needs to be a bonding clause included, and maybe we need to do that for projects over a certain value and time period set.
Can I make a suggestion? Maybe we can amend the ordinance that a building permit after the first extension will require a bond.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
that might be the reasonable middle ground. Without a reasonable.
Normal Joe is gonna come in and get a building permit and get his work done. As long as he's making progress, we can extend it. But if somebody's not making substantial progress and in the eyes, it has to go in front of the council or back in front of the planning board or something, we could set up a mechanism so that if it needs to be extended, they'll have to bond it. This way, as soon as we issue a permit, we'll tell the person, if the work's not done and you need to extend it, there's a chance you're gonna have to file a bond. Tell them right up front, they'll know going into it that they may down the road have to file a bond and it's gonna cost them money.
I like that also because we'll get a reasonable time period from people versus what they're telling us what we want to hear on when they're done.
Right.
So they'll put some money on the line and they'll give us a reasonable date and we'll be able to communicate it
And
to
it
the
won't make
public.
everyone suffer, or if there's a good cause shown why something got delayed or whatever.
Well, do you recommend that we have an agenda item the next meeting, or do you?
Well, I think Rich and I should look at the city code and then look at what we need to do and we can propose an ordinance or a local law or whatever needs to be done.
So
Accomplish
maybe
it.
we can table this.
Well, whether it'll affect this, but what we could do is let this gentleman know or individual know if the city council's gonna pass something and you better get your work done, otherwise you're gonna be subject to the new law.
Fred, if I could just intervene
Yeah.
here. Regarding the table, there's nothing to actually table because there's no
It's a
action.
received question, right?
Right. So we'll just have to make sure that the law department and the director of
It'll
development is
protect
aware
us in
of.
the future. Yes.
Exactly right.
There's one more he has.
Yeah.
So if you want to refer to the law department for review with the
Yeah.
director of development, we'll come up with something.
All right.
My last one, Mr. Wolf, I apologize, I'm in your office every other day, so. Housing is having a real problem with people parking their cars and stuff, all on site, all on the grass and stuff. we sent out letters to every resident, some of them is still doing it. We're just asking, we have sent a letter to get the police to help us. If they see them, see cars parked there, we don't want them to, like, they've been warned and everything, they just not paying no attention. Please just ticket them if we can, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because we need them to, that's the only, and one thing we scared.
Have the residents call
Yeah.
the police department too. I already talked to Chief Packard about this.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Councilman Ingram. Councilman Szymanski?
Yeah, so we all heard the event that's happening, which will be in the next few days. The first female governor of the state of New York in our 244-year history. It's a very monumental moment, and I will say this during the, I can tell you the date, November 23rd, 2014 at 4:02 p.m. That's when my photo was taken of the lieutenant governor speaking to a woman. She wanted a tour of Lackawanna snow damage during the November snowstorm. And so we toured the city, and one of the places she wanted to go to was Shamrock Drive, which I thought was a fairly odd request, but turns out that was a privately owned trailer park and had very different rules then. Now, rules that can never happen ever again. And the rule was, the moment you have a child, you have to move out in 6 months.
Jeez.
I mean, now you don't have to pay rent at all. So for this to happen, so she, Kathy Courtney was born on Shamrock Drive, and 6 months later, she moved to Blaisdell. So we have a couple of salutations that were already voted in by the city government. One of them was the obvious one, Father Baker, home of Father Baker. Second one was voted on in the 90s, and that one was recognizing one of our founding fathers and a resume that any American should strive to have. And that'll be Colonel John Weber, Civil War veteran and statesman. That is what was voted on in the 1990s. And I am requesting, and by the way, I could just see this turning into a border skirmish between us and Blaisdell and our Hamburg cousins, where they'll be voting and battling over who is the home of Kathy Hochul. We're not saying we're the home of Kathy Hochul, the 57th governor of the state of New York. We are saying we are the birthplace of the first female governor. And so I think it was a pretty interesting time to be around.
Maybe we could call on Colonel Weber to defend that issue.
Well, I actually spoke to, if you're referring to the fireman, Bill Tojek, I
Yeah,
spoke to him
Bill
last week.
Tojek.
I spoke to him last week, as a matter of fact, for some information on this letter I wrote. But the first governor was George Clinton, and not George Clinton of the Parliament Funkadelics, but which would have been awesome.
Would've been a fine
That was
governor.
George Clinton 244 years ago. But this is a major event, and I can't find a person who could be more qualified. She first off, she will know our struggles and battles, because she served on the Hamburg Town Council for 12 years, very honorably, by the way. She served at the county level. She serves at the state level. She served at the federal level. She is the most qualified person I've ever seen run for that office, and I'm very excited to see what her administration can do. But with that being stated, I'd just like to say perhaps we can take the time to consider voting for the salutation to be added. And we're in no rush to have this printed, because, by the way, the Colonel Weber salutation was voted on and never put on a sign. So perhaps we can do some serious sign adjustments and add all three. But that's that. That's a nice little heart of the story. But the story was, so to continue, so we go there, we're on Shamrock Drive, snow's everywhere, but recovery efforts underway. Dwayne DeSantis and the team did a great job. And she just stood there and she was staring. The place where she was born isn't there anymore. It's just a lot. It's a vacant lot. But she just kept staring at it. She was using the term humble beginnings, which I thought was very, very wonderful to hear. And as we're walking back, a woman comes out of her trailer and she said, she just sticks her head out. I said, "Hi, how you doing, ma'am? I'm Mayor Jeff Szymanski. This is Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul." And surrounded, we had a state trooper there, and we had, her security and her chief of staff. She doesn't say hi or anything. She just looks at us and says, "I'm missing Toonses." And we're like, huh? She was my cat. My cat's missing. So we have the lieutenant governor, the mayor, during a snowstorm, and we're like lifting up parts of a trailer, trying to find a cat. And I have to say, Lieutenant Governor Hochul found the cat and returned it to the lady. I have the photo. I'll have to get over to Gina if you can perhaps add it to some form of our minutes of this. But it was a great moment. But it was good to see that, she was still serving while looking for cats. So that being stated, it was a great moment, but I did not know that that was the history of that trailer park. But like I said, can you imagine that rule now? You know, you're pregnant, you got 6 months after you have a child to get on out. I mean, that's just, the 1950s were a different time, so.
Your Honor,
Yeah,
just that when we had the gala, and Kathy Hoker was our guest speaker, she spoke about the trailer park and whatever, and as the way she spoke about it, I said, I remember, you know, and it resonated with a lot of folks.
yeah, I think it's a commendable initiative, and you can look forward to my support.
I can hear Hamburg and Blaisdell screaming right now about us passing this tonight. Because we, you know, as soon as the news came out, I wrote the letter and I sent it over to the city clerk to be clocked in. So,
Speaking of that, Mr.
Yes.
Councilman, regarding your communication, you've got in quotes, this is what you sent me, birthplace of Governor Kathy Courtney Hochul, comma, 57th governor of the state of New York, comma, first female governor of the Empire State, end quotes. Is the council going to vote on that salutation as written, or are you looking to adjust it, or what's your thoughts, just so I can enter it for the minutes?
well, my thoughts is it's all there. If there's anything else we can add or.
Are we sure the governor's
Premature.
gonna resign? That's my question.
Yeah, I would make a condition.
Yeah, we gotta put some condition in there. that-
Right, that the 14 doesn't extend the whole year? Yeah,
Yeah, that she's sworn in and actually become governor.
yes.
Other than that, I wouldn't change anything.
Mr. Council President, myself and Councilman Szymanski had she spoke at the conference we went to in June, and we had her here, and she just loves people from Lackawanna. She come up, give me a big hug.
That's good to know.
And I whispered in her ear, I says, "Must be getting ready." And she looked at me like,
There you go, there you
I
go.
didn't say anymore, you know?
So it was you all along.
Oh.
All along with Martine.
No, I mean for governor.
Yeah.
Could have took it otherwise too.
Now, what I will say is this, regarding the conference of mayors, I see that, you know, myself, Councilman Sirdike, the mayor, and the city clerk are going. I would recommend, if the council members would like to go, you really do learn a lot. And it's really, every time I've gone there, I've learned so much. And I recommend, if you want to stay in this line of work, to go. I mean, it's 4 days.
It's a
but
yearly thing too, right?
it's sometimes it's quarterly.
Okay.
But every time they have different items in there, and sometimes I even encourage my department heads to go, because, you know, there was a time where, what was it, Lake Placid, Carolyn? That we had, there was a conference up there.
Mhm.
I was trying to get, you know, a whole bunch of department heads to go up there, because they have different courses at different times. So sometimes it's just based around administrations. So there'll be something for like the law departments, and a lot of stuff for law departments, the city clerk. But keep in mind, the Conference of Mayors, there's 63 cities in New York State, but there's about 583 villages. And mayors are villages and cities, and supervisors are towns. So a lot of the stuff, some of the stuff we won't have any interest in, because they'll have stuff like how to manage a volunteer fire department. Well, that has nothing to do with us, because we have a professional fire department. But there are things that we will always learn from. So I would recommend if you guys are serious, we could consider you know, that you guys should consider going to these, because they really are valuable. So that's all I got on that, but I appreciate the support on this letter. If there's any questions for me, please let me know. But with that, I'm prepared to move on, because we have 2 minutes before we're supposed to.
Yeah, let's move through this. Item number 10, city attorney requests council approval regarding Erie County funds to upgrade fire department's 9/11 system, which is in great need of an update and coordination. Anyone have any opinion on that or any questions? Item 11, city attorney requests council approve attached contract between city and Harris Beach Council Services. Mr. Judah, anything you want to tell us on that?
Bond council had discussions with Carolyn and the bond council, as well as the mayor, about refinancing some existing debt, and possibly including work on the new city hall, if we can get to it in time. If not, we should just refinance the existing debt, because the rates are so low.
And have we retained this?
We haven't retained anybody. We have
With financial advisors.
the same
Currently.
financial advisor that we used in the past, but that's a minimal expense, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And why Harris Beach?
Why not? I guess they're local bond council in the past. You know, I've been involved with the school district, as you know, and with the city in years past, and we've always used outside bond counsel. I think the city did we use this Harris Beach before?
This is your recommendation?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. that's
We
good.
met
Good
with
enough.
the attorney. He's well qualified. Harris Beach has offices all across New York State.
Yeah,
And keep the business local, I guess. Their fees are competitive and they can get the job done. So,
And they're well accredited.
yes.
yeah.
Very good.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? City Attorney, 12, City Attorney request council approve contract between city and varsity gay league. I believe this is, had been done in the
It's
past.
basically renewal, yes.
Yeah. Anyone have any comments? Very good. 13, City Attorney request council approve attached agreement between city and Willet Road Solar LLC. I read some of the contract and understood a little of it. I appreciate
So did I.
Director Stanton and our city attorney, Rick Judah, uncovering some of the shortcomings of the original contract and what transpired on that location to catch some of the errors, and then recommend this corrective measure. Either Mr. Judah or Mr. Stanton want to be heard on that?
Yeah, so there's really two issues. One is, I think Rich had a possible lead on a redevelopment of a part of that parcel which wasn't being used that the council had previously committed to with the solar project. But number two, going back and looking at the prior director of development's records and the past records from the city council, the project was never developed to the extent that it was originally held out to be for one reason or the other. But it got to the point where it was actually costing the city money. So we halted payments under the program. And rather than proceed to litigation, we sat down with, what is it called?
Frank McClenaghan,
Sun-
CIR. Solar.
Yeah, so we sat down with the electrical company and the solar LLC, and we came up with an agreement that I think the city can live with, which gives us back some land and which provides us with basically a constant, consistent credit going forward.
And let me ask you this, does the city still own that property? It's just leased to this company?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, but we were leasing it to them and then we were getting billed because the
Interesting.
credits weren't sufficient to cover the cost of what they were producing there.
Okay, thank you.
So it made no sense to us to not only give them this property, but then to pay them on top of it.
Sure.
It's quite ludicrous, actually, but we worked it out and I think it'll benefit the city in the long run.
Well, thank you for those efforts.
And I want to thank Mr. Stanton because without his knowledge and his contacts, we wouldn't have got this done to the extent that it needed to get done. So,
Thank you, and we thank Director Stanton too. Anyone have anything on this? Questions? Item number 14, Director of Recreation, request city approve Lackawanna DPW to utilize U Drive at 2838 South Park Avenue to hold the second annual drive-through charity chicken barbecue. The first one was wonderful. Anyone have any issues with that? Item number 15, Director of Recreation, request city council allow resident LA Urban Farms member Rebecca Rusev to discuss the possibility of utilizing Kalani Park to host an afternoon wellness program. Director, you have anything on that?
Ms. Rusev is here. She's ready to address the council whenever you deem it convenient. She's got some literature. Some of it you may have gotten already. Some she may have to give you when she comes up to speak. At this point, we're just going to, what she's proposing is starting to give lessons with regards to wellness and farming and things of that nature, agriculture, at the Kalani Park location with an eye towards possibly later expanding the program to include development at the area through state grants. She's got a really large vision for what this could become. And I think today we're just going to kind of, to coin a phrase, plant the seed for the program and hopefully have it grow into something bigger. I worked on that for a minute in case you're wondering. Yeah. But if she could address the council, I think everyone would be really interested in what she's got to say. She's got some really interesting ideas to use that property that is frankly underutilized.
Do you know how long a presentation it's gonna be?
Ms. Rusev?
Well, I have a 4-minute video. I don't have to have the video. I can then show it to you at a different time in an email, but I can talk to you for about 5 minutes. 10 minutes total, if you're willing.
Yeah, I'm not going on. Yeah.
Come on up.
Oh, thank you. I don't know where I stand. Is this just a
You stand in front of the camera.
None of us
so
know
no one
where
can
we
see us.
stand.
Okay, right, I know. Well, first I want to introduce myself and thank you. Thank you very much for meeting with me. And I think I've already spoken with a few of you that kind of know some of the work that I do. First and foremost, I'm an educator. I've worked in education for over 20 years. My last project with gardening was with Access of Western New York, where we had a garden in McKinley, where we actually taught children from the charter school and some other local children from different schools in a summer program, where we taught them how to grow the vegetables, how to cut the vegetables, and how to cook the vegetables. And these are all, you know, elementary children. I am also on the PTA as a board member, but I'm also in the school district of Lackawanna on their wellness committee. And that's really where my passion lays, with education, wellness, reform. A lot of what you've seen with Cornell Cooperative Extension being in our community is a lot of group efforts that were coming together. I was here when we first worked with Mr. Kearns on the idea that Lackawanna is a food desert, and how do we solve these problems. And my idea, and every teacher's idea, is it starts from the moment in education with young children and the development of that. When we lost funding to Cornell Cooperative because we knew the grant was ending, part of the bridging in the gap and bridging together literally both sides of Lackawanna was the idea that someone would need to step up in that. Someone in the community would need to keep this going. There was a lot of talk and communication, and being on the wellness board, we did get a chance to hire Mr. Ilg, who was one of his main components was to work in the wellness. Well, he's been working in wellness, but more on the COVID end of it, right? Because that is still considered part of the job of administration. My goal has been to work with the city and the kids. We've worked with Independent Health, and if you're not aware, there's Independent Health is getting groceries, free groceries to people who need them. I've already been in communication with Independent Health on what I'm doing here. I've worked with Roswell Park on their wellness initiative. Lackawanna is my hometown. My husband is a firefighter here. I have literally, in the last 10 years of living here, tried to bloom where I'm planted and be involved in this community, and I want to continue to do that. So with that vision being said, my husband moved here when he was 7 from Bulgaria. He is an immigrant, and he has worked hard to be where he is. We own real estate property here as well. We own 4 properties, and along with my children and being active in the community, what we wanted to give back, and our family wanted to give back, was a greenhouse to be built in memory of his father, who has passed away, and in memory of his mother, who still lives, but no longer here in Lackawanna, New York, but to teach people to bloom where they're planted, literally. Our schools, if you don't know education, when I started over 25 years ago, they pushed technology. I have a master's in educational technology because I knew it was needed. Now they're pushing farming. If you don't know this, agricultural farming in urban schools is huge. Okay, there is some facts that I have here for you. Now this, I don't know how you want to pass this out, but this is some of the things that I would like proposed. This packet tells you a little bit about me and my why, along, I think, with something else in there. The grants that are available have tremendously grown. And when I say grown, this is just one example of the grant that is available. I have been working now recently, I'm so excited to say I've met a gentleman named Michael, who is already, Michael Barnes, if you're not familiar with him, he is over in the first ward. He is working on similar to what I'm working on, the idea of getting all these ideas of Lackawanna farms in the community. There are so many growing farms that people are willing to give vegetables away if people come and work a little bit. Michael is one of them. He's very eager to work on this program that we are utilizing, hopefully in Galante Park. There is approval. What we're doing is we're starting off a study of a 3-week program where the kids are going to come in and learn stream learning, which is a little bit different from STEM. STEM learning is science, technology, engineering, and math, where stream learning is science, technology, reading, engineering, and arts and math. So within this 3-week program, we're going to be utilizing every single school. Why did we choose this park and not someplace else? Well, number one, it's right across the street from Martin Road, where the children don't have to worry about getting bused. Because unfortunately, busing is very difficult. Being on the PTA, we can never get enough money to even take field trips to the Buffalo Zoo, let alone even get our kids to be exposed to these type of learnings. When I say that there are millions of dollars available, I'm talking like $350 million that it was approved through New York State. Mickey Kearns is very aware of the wellness and some of the funding that we've been doing before. Independent Health is seeing this, and all educators are being told that we need more farmers. We need to build farmers. And although we're a city, I can tell you just to Google city farming and see all the possibilities. So one of the big things that I've already mentioned is that we've donated a greenhouse. It would be somewhat of a size of a 12 by 12, maybe 12 by 14, maybe 12 by 16. That can be negotiated, but that's already been paid for and donated. We just need to figure out the place or the approval from you to say, yes, could be move forward. Within the video that I have, and I'll send to you, unless we can't show it here because there's really no white walls, but what we can do is, describe, if you've been down Galante Park, there's a big, towards the back, a pathway, and there's a big concrete pad there that's open that I think was once used for basketball. I'm not quite sure, but that pad is open. Our idea is also to have a farm to table night initiative.
So
where
it'll be a raised farm on the kind of.
Well, see, now this is the thing. The farm idea is first starting in education first. We're going to be teaching the kids I'm not going to go and, but engineering. If we get the idea of building this greenhouse, the students involved in this program would be building with the architect who is, and that all plans can come through. He's licensed, he knows what he's doing. He would be building with the kids along with myself and the other educators that are involved. But that pad there is a teacher in Lackawanna schools. Her name is April Ratter, and she's done some amazing art and mural work in the city. She's done a lot of chalk art design. She wants to work with students on this project and maybe paint the mural. It's pretty big. It's as large as this room. I think we measured it. But I don't have the dimensions with me right now, but I think it's in the paperwork that you can read over. Our approval would be that we want to also have a farm to table night, maybe coinciding with Lackawanna Days, where these tickets could be sold for a dinner, a nice catered dinner with El City Restaurant. I've already been in communication with him, and he has agreed that we're going to try and bring more of this urban living to our city. And so the farm to table night would be a fun initiative to bring funds to this event to further grow and collaborate the mission. We would also like to possibly have another fundraiser of a roller skating party around that loop. Maybe like for kids to understand exercise. I already went on the pathway since it was paved. I want to thank you all because that's how I get my exercise out. I loved it as a child. I'm getting children to get back into their roller skates rather than roller blades. It's safer. And it's a perfect area to do that. Galante Park is really, do you know those, have you been there where you see the wooden things in the back that I believe were built for bocce. They are growing weeds high, well, not anymore, because I think they were taken care of, but there's just stones that's not used for anything. I take kids out there for meditation and mindfulness training. We balance on those, but that's as big as what I'm seeing of work being done. Our goal is to possibly fill that and create like a hoop house, if that's approved in the future. When we say farm, we mean that we would like approval for a weekend event of where there would be ducks, goats. I am in contact with one of the largest women who is in the industry of wool making, and she sells her wool, of possibly being interested to have these animals there and teaching kids about shaving, where wool comes from, what do we do with it? And it would be more of a weekend thing. So when we say farming, we don't necessarily mean that we're going to be digging up right now. That's a future goal. Our current things that we would like approved would be the building of this structure, not this year, but for next year. We already just got approval of using the land for the classes, and that's pretty much where we are. And then maybe talking for the mural as well as next year and a possible fundraiser. When I say again to bring back the grants, there's a grant outlined in front of you where it could be right now for funding up to $100,000, just because we're working together. This is the biggest thing, and more money can come. It's the schools, it's the city, and it's the community. And it's not just the city schools. This is involving the private schools and the charter schools as well, as far as communication. So this is my goal. Yes,
So who would run the program?
that would be me.
And how long of a time period do you see your involvement in it?
Long term,
Well, what is long-term?
as long as the approval keeps coming in.
Until the harvest.
Until the harvest. Really what our basic goal is to have this as a summer program. This was initiated and stemmed and with COVID regulations and things going on.
My
knew this
question
was
though
coming.
is, do you intend to do this while you're teaching and then when you retire to continue to do that?
Sure. My teaching actually, if you look on the last page that I packed, it tells you a little bit about my background. So right now I'm homeschooling. I do a lot of community involvement. I'm hired by contractual work. The grant that I would be getting, that's how I would be getting paid, just like I did when I worked with other grants and nonprofits in the area. So as long as this grant continues to grow, and it will bring beauty to our neighborhood and our school. The idea of a structure coming in, this is not just going to be used, for my classes, it's going to be used for teachers later on. If this program doesn't go through because of whatever, we already built something that is going to be stern and strong. I'm not looking to build I'm looking to use the land more for a purpose of events and fundraising rather than make it like a brownstone brick building someplace.
And the fundraising, the funds would go where?
It would grow, well, until the funding for the grant, you mean?
No, the funding resulting from the fundraising.
Oh, the fundraising, it would, well, number one, it would go towards the events that we have, the time, the school supplies, everyday procedures and things like that. Working together with Michael and his nonprofit, because there is an aspect that if you work within your city and you're a nonprofit worker, there's also more funding available, and it's as well as with the schools.
My concern would be the longevity of it.
Sure.
And
Good question.
I would think we would need some kind of reassurances there. But and another thing is, I don't know if you're aware, but OLV has a farming project on
And
Bethel Street.
Yes, I actually worked with them. I worked for OLV. I actually started their whole technology integration system there. That's where I was working previously when I left the year before the pandemic hit to homeschool my children. So I'm fully aware of that. I've actually been to that farm as well. The idea of Lackawanna Farms, the website itself, is to list all the farms in the area. And I've already been in communication and knowing what they do, but I will tell you this, and not to segregate, but theirs is really segregated to their community of people. They are just starting with communication to work with the city dwellers, because I've communicated with their director and I've actually sat with their board.
I guess the bottom line is, what exactly are you asking for us to do today? today?
I'm asking you to approve that next year we could start building of the structure. I'm asking that you are aware of what's happening in the community for urban farming. There's actually a checklist that I gave you, but right now I'm asking that we can use the sign to advertise our classes that are coming up, that is already happening for the fundraisers, and approve to possibly have Miss Ratter create the designs for you to approve later that would be painted for the park and city dwellers and things like that.
What's a hoop house?
A hoop house, basically, so you know where the bocce ball is, there's already a structure there. Basically, a hoop house is taking almost like a hula hoop, bending it over that, and then putting plastic over it so vegetables and fruit can grow easily and not be affected by the elements.
And play bocce. That's awesome. Good idea. Who would apply for the grant?
Well, that is what we would be working on. I'm applying for the grant, but with city approval, meaning that you guys are seeing that this is happening for the city residents, that you're approving the land that you own for us to do that.
And you would be working with us, the Lackawanna Central District, and the private schools?
Yes, it's for all children in this area and all schools.
But I mean, if we're gonna vote in support of this,
Yes.
you're gonna need their support.
No, because we're not using their land, right? It's really just the idea of an educational component. We're the educators. I have my master's in educational technology, which is STREAM in education. My programs have been bought by other schools and things like that. I believe you bloom where you're planted. I have time. I want to keep blooming here. I want to keep growing. I want to dig a firm tree and not be blown over.
Our recreation director is blooming currently.
Yeah, he is. And
One other question, what about insurance? Insurance, are you self-insured or?
yes, that would be covered through that. Well, the insurance, yes. Well, we have insurance for the children and as far as like working with us and things like that, yes.
How about during construction?
That we will all get through. Yep, we can get that as well. And I think that's more under the gentleman who's building it, the engineer.
Well, we have to know what the entire phase
Sure.
structure looks
Yep.
like. And this would have to be referred to development,
Yep,
legal, the law department,
Possibly
recreation.
the planning board.
yeah.
It may require secret approval. I don't know. She's asking to
Well, if
build
it goes to director of development,
permanent structures on parkland technically, right?
yeah, that's.
It's
true.
bigger than a picnic bench, right? And I know that, or a picnic table. The structure, 12 by 12. Again, this would all, right now, we just want really the city and everyone to know what our ideas are and what it could bring. It could bring even more money to understand that the city is seeing that STEM technology and learning and all of that together. But right now, it's just really the proposal of next year, maybe starting on that structure, where this year is the use of the sign that's on South Park, to maybe use Facebook and all of your other marketing that you use to let the city know that this is happening.
Well, again, as our city attorney pointed out, there may be a number of hurdles that have to be crossed first
Sure.
before we can even take any of those kinds of steps.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So if you don't mind there,
Yeah,
Council
go ahead.
President. So I see that you're heading away for a short time. I will not comment on that because security. But when does the grant end?
When
When do we have to have approval? Should we decide to move forward? Because we're not voting on this tonight because we have hurdles to hurdle. And so when does the grant expire?
Well, we wouldn't be working on this, but when I say there's grants, there's multiple grants that we can submit through. So whether this one is ending, there's another one that will be coming up similar to next year. This is an ongoing grant for about 10 years, that is going.
And as for your concerns on the Knowlton Apartments, I see that was left off or left on here.
Yes, that's for later. You can
We'll address
communicate that.
that later. Yes, okay. All right, so it's ongoing grants, you guys. Okay,
Mhm.
so, all right. I'm out of questions, but I don't think we're approving anything tonight, just so you can mentally prepare.
That's
But
okay,
it
and that's
was a
all right.
good
I
seed
understand.
planted,
Yeah.
pun intended, and hopefully it will come to fruition, but okay.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
interest, very admirable, very generous on your part and your husband's.
Thank you.
We're glad you live in our community.
Thank you.
What I hope, I think the direction we'll take today, I think, is to refer your request to the various departments that may have input. Yes.
Can I just interrupt you for 1
Sure.
second? Can we get almost like a business plan of what this involves
Sure.
and the steps involved?
Yeah, I have
What-
one.
What you want to do first, what needs to be done second?
Well, we have to have that for the grant already. And that's the one thing of working with the other gentleman that is over the bridge, Michael Barnes. He kind of consulted with me and I've looked at the process of him working with grants. So having the proposed outline and all of that has already been done
Right, an outline,
previously.
right.
It's
Th-
probably
this
about
way-
15 pages, but
This way we can kind of let you know what needs to be done immediately and what will have to be done down the road, so
sure.
that you don't go through all these steps and then find out from us, hey, we need insurance, or
Sure.
hey,
Well,
we need this, or whatever.
Just so we're aware, the foundation of the greenhouse, that wouldn't come from the grant. That's coming from my husband and I as a donation to
Well, that's
the
fine,
city as a
but we
thank
would-
you. And the grant itself is not necessarily coming to the city, it's coming to the nonprofit that wants to do work in the city. So it's not so much, I don't want to say that it is a yes or no through you, because we're going to continue to get that grant money, whether we work definitively on that area, but we want to bloom it. We want to continue to give, whether we say every year because of this grant, we give the city $10,000 to grow, the recreation department, or, growing the farm out in First Ward. That's something that will continuously be judged.
There's no gas station being put in this farm greenhouse.
No, thank goodness,
We need
right?
timeliness on this proud.
There may be building permit requests. though.
Methane
Yeah.
gas.
Yes, that's right. yeah.
And I'll send you
Farming.
that video and those other documents, and if you want what I have digitally, but it should outline to you about some of the work that I've already done. And you say jump hurdles. I've worked with Roswell Park for quite some time. We've changed and manipulated wellness in this area in the past 10 years, that I can honestly say that's one of the reasons why I was nominated as one of Buffalo's most influential women. I take that title seriously. I thank you for bringing up, Mrs. Hochul, and the idea to know that women can be powerful. And I want to be powerful, if you don't know that already, and our community needs that. And I thank you for your time and talking to you, and hopefully we can move forward with that.
Thank you very much.
That was a very long 10 minutes, but we appreciate it. It was very thorough.
Okay.
Sorry, Fred.
All right, moving on to item number 16. Recreation Department requests City Council Franklin Playground used by Global Concepts Charter for high school soccer team. Apparently, this has been an ongoing request.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyone have anything on that? Insurance is provided. 17, City Controller requests City Council approve attached orders creating Assistant Controller's position and associating funding. Anybody have any issue on that?
Yes.
Go ahead. Yes, Councilman Sirdike.
I talked to our controller today, and I know the last time I had some concerns about the position and everything, and I went through everything, and I couldn't ask questions at the meeting. It's all personnel, so that's why I voted against it. And actually, today, Carolyn, we're not creating this position, it's already in there, right?
Right.
So, I don't know. But we're just funding it, and it's only $5,900, right?
Addition.
Additional to,
And you,
there is a principal account clerk title in the budget. It's basically
increase-
swapping that out and putting in.
Awesome, and I'm not
assistant.
against you getting help. And the city needs a backup controller. God forbid anything happens to you, or you wanna go on vacation.
Carolyn, you get to go on vacation.
I do, I do.
Whoa, I didn't
Whoa,
vote on
wait a
that.
minute.
Well, next
Vote on
year,
this
next
vacation
year,
here.
next year.
No places out of work.
Well, once every
I'm
5
gonna-
years, right?
I'm gonna
Once
be
every
going,
5
yes.
years, yeah.
Councilman Sirdike, thank you, and we appreciate your change your heart on that.
Will I be assuming that the person used to have your title?
Yes.
Well, then, perfect.
very
Okay.
qualified, very thorough. We make an amazing team, so.
Anything else? All right, moving on to item number 18, city clerk requests city council approve Mayor Arfalo, council members Sirdike and Savansky to attend the New York State Conference of Mayors. We discussed this a little bit earlier. Designed program, very, very helpful. Anyone have any position on that?
Can you add the city attorney to that? Possibly, if my schedule permits. I don't.
I would
You want
like
to be
to,
edited?
I would like that. It is that good. I would recommend you, if you can, do it.
Okay, we will add a city attorney.
If I may, Mr. Council President, also, it does say "and I," so I am included in that request, just so we're clear for the record, and I'm going to add the city attorney. Just for the record, Mr. City Attorney, we already have pending approval from the council today, hotel rooms, and that the conference has been reserved, so we need to make sure that there's adequate opening.
Yeah, I would look into it tomorrow, just to make sure.
Very good. So we will add, in addition to the members indicated here, the city attorney and our city clerk. He was already added, but not set forth here. All right, very good. Communication from citizens, Steve Zafransky sent a letter covering Jackson Street as well as the use of fire pits, which I'm sure our city clerk will read during their regular meeting. Item number 20.
Mr. Council President,
Yes.
I'd like the 18 one more time, I'm sorry, but
That's all right.
we did have department head who wishes to participate if possible. Can I just ask if there are any other department heads who would like to possibly participate at NICOM if it is available? Rich, you did go to one before.
Yeah, I did, and it's hard for me to leave town this year.
Well, bring the kid. They love that. All right.
Thanks,
I'm
Joe.
just throwing it out.
I appreciate
I think it's that important. There's so much to learn.
It is, and I appreciate it.
Okay, very good. Sorry.
That's all right. Again, Mr. Sobransky submitted a letter, which I believe we've all read. It'll be read as part of the meeting once it's formally called to order by our city clerk. And I don't know if there's any discussion at this point in time as to the contents of the letter. Yes, sir.
He's here, he's in.
Well, it's not a, did you want to address the council?
Well, I'd like to share my thoughts and comments.
Well, your letter did that. I don't know if you want to address us personally.
Well, no, as long as everybody got the letter, what concerns were and what are some corrective actions to take.
Yeah, if you want to address city council, you have to fill out, put your name and address over here on the sheet. When we call the meeting to order, you can talk to us. Okay?
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
All right. All right, item number 20, we may as well call Ms. Rizza back to continue her conversation with city council, but we already heard from her. Item
No,
20.
this is in regards to the concerns on the bottom of this page here, Council President.
I'm sorry.
She talked to me on the phone regarding this, the dumpster up on the corner of Knowlton and South Park.
Who missed Rizza?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not aware of that.
It's at the bottom of that sheet she gave us.
Oh, yeah.
That one, right
I
where
don't know
it's
why
at.
she left. I told her I'd send, refer to the
Okay,
code enforcement.
okay, we'll make a note of that.
No, they don't. It's a no.
Just for the record, Mr. Council President,
Yes.
the initial communication that we received from Ms. Russo did not include that notation.
Ah,
So,
do we, so the communication got on the agenda for the original content that was added.
correct, which is why you don't have it probably.
Yeah.
So my suggestion would be just to handle it internally. It's not really actionable, it's not on the agenda.
Right.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
No item. Okay.
All right, item 21, Emily Hawkins, Eatontown Clerk, submitted a resolution regarding the raising of the Skyway Bridge and the importance of access to Buffalo. That bridge, anyone have any comments on that? Anyone who wants to join in that sentiment? Wish to issue a resolution? in support of not tearing it down. Okay, we can receive and file.
Your Honor,
Rich?
on behalf of the city, we did submit formal objections to the plan, and those were one of the
Yes.
reasons. Also, the impact on businesses, delay of businesses that depended on getting to Canada, crossing that bridge, and making it harder for the First Ward residents to get to jobs in downtown Buffalo, and also the impacts on South Park Avenue. All those are in DOT's records already.
Very good, thank you, Director. Anyone else on that? Very good. There's a request to waive the rules regarding item number 22. Kevin Pegler, President, Little League Football, request City Council approve Veteran Stadium purpose of practicing between September 1st, 2021, November 13th, 2021. Proof insurance attached. Anyone have any comments on that?
It's not going to interfere with any of the projects that are going on that field.
When the request came into me personally, I discussed that with Commissioner DeSantis, and he assured me that the time frame that he foresees is the project is not going to break ground until after the date that they want to use the field for.
All right, anyone else? Business registrations, Kades Mohamdi, DBA statewide Auto Plus, Auto Repair, 180 Ridge Road, all the department approvals as well as not licensing, but all the required approvals were received on that. Anyone have any comments? Sarah Barber, DBA SRI Fire Sprinkler LLC, Satellite Office Printing and Emailing, 2600 Hamburg Turnpike. Anyone have any issues on that? Michael Barnes, DBA Yard Sale Produce Farmers Market, 142 Wilson Street. All approvals were met with that. Anyone have any comments? Christine Horalczyk, DBA Willett Farm Stand, sell produce and local homemade made products, 2021 Abbott Road. All approvals were received. Any comments on that?
I have one question, Mr. Council.
Yes, sir.
Just wondering why some of these were submitted in February, April. Why does it take 6 months to do these? I don't know. Yeah.
I can answer those. First off, remember, we do have a policy in place regarding provisional licenses. We work in concert with the Department of Development regarding planning and zoning. If they don't require those needs, we give them a provisional that day so that we don't slow businesses down. And then really what it comes down to is we hand off the application to the different department heads that are listed on the application.
Yeah, I see that.
And it does, depending on their schedule and what they've got going, it does take some time. And then, of course, when you get into the summer where there's only one council meeting a month. So that's why we initiated the provisional licensing plan to begin with, so we wouldn't do that. And then along the way, we found a little snafu where maybe a business was being authorized in a neighborhood it shouldn't be. So that's when we started requiring them to at least go before the Director of Development Zoning, make sure that what they wanted to put there met the needs of the neighborhood, and then we would issue the permit. Go through the channels, the hoop, so to speak, and here we are.
Okay, thank you both.
Thank you.
Entertainment license, Nightcap, 17 Skinner Road, Class 1, live music and or mechanical reproduction. Lake Erie Co-op Society, 3200 South Park Avenue, Class 1, live music and or mechanical reproduction. Anyone have any comments on either of those? Okay, for the record, before we begin, I just want to note, and on behalf of the City Council, to extend our congratulations to our mayor, Annette Iafallo, who's been recognized on the Power 200 Women list published annually by Buffalo Business First. The list spotlights the top 200 female executives from across the region's public, private, municipal, and nonprofit sectors as chosen by Buffalo Business First publisher, editor, and news staff for, quote, their efforts in leading economic, social, and cultural growth, end quote. Recognition of Mayor Iafallo on this year's list reflects the publication's positive view of the mayor's strategic vision for Lackawanna and the economic development progress the city is experiencing under her administrations. We send our congratulations as well as our thanks for Mayor Iafallo's vision and her continued hard work. Furthermore, congratulations and a hearty thank you to Chuck Clark, Informations Officer, would organize an economic development opportunities symposium earlier this week for Western New York, and some very influential partners who answered questions and gave some substantial insights. And on that panel, and to his credit, and very proudly, we'd like to extend our congratulations and our thanks to our Director of Development, Richard Stanton, for his participation. And he displayed his extreme knowledge of his areas of expertise, and we're quite proud to have him on our team. And we thank you both for your efforts to that extent. All right. I think, are we done yet? No.
Pledge time.
All right, yeah. Given all, I would, it is now approximately 19 minutes before 8 p.m. Mr. City Clerk, I formally call to this meeting agenda, Monday, August 16th, 2021, the regular City Council meeting for the City of Lackawanna. Please take the roll.
Mr. Council President, would you like to do the Pledge of Allegiance before?
Thank you for reminding me. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And as always, a reminder, this meeting is being recorded. Roll call, Council Ingram.
Here.
Samansky. Here. Moretti.
Here.
Sirlik.
Here.
Morano.
Here.
Department heads, Law.
Here.
Development.
Here.
Public Works has been excused. Public Safety.
Here.
Controller.
Here.
Recreation.
Here.
PIO.
Here.
Hearings from citizens. Can you have that sheet, please? Thank you.
We have two requests to address the City Council. The first is from Steven Zafransky, who also submitted a letter to the City Council. Mr. Zafransky, you wish to come forward and address the City Council?
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you for being here.
It's great. No, I just want to know, I checked with a couple other towns with fire pits, Hamburg, Buffalo. They do allow fire pits. Hamburg just said it was fine. I checked with insurance companies. Most insurance claims are from gas grills burning siding, not from fire pits. Why we can't have a fire pit locally is beyond me. If you have corrective actions where if you put them on a pad 6 feet away from a building, a garage, a screen cover on it, it's a safe environment. If I take the cover off, I can put a hot dog on it and I'm legal to cook on it. I don't know why it's being such a hassle that they're put a stench on this. And there's people that are irresponsible.
Yeah, if I can, there's two instances where that, even though there may be legal cooking going on, it's used as a subterfuge to have the fire. Secondly, it's not necessarily a safety issue, although that is an issue, but if the fire pits are close to a residence and the wind during the summertime blows the smoke into people's homes, it becomes very uncomfortable and it's an unsafe environment for many people. And I think that was a significant cause for people for the city to prohibit these kinds of open pits and open burning. Finally, people were burning their garbage, their leaves, and their refuse in some of these garbage pits, even to the point where they put a grate over the top of it and put a baked potato and a piece of aluminum foil or whatever, and say, well, I'm cooking potato. Well, it got to the point where people were complaining sufficiently enough that prior administrations saw fit to restrict that activity.
And has there been, well, since there hasn't been any fires, when was the last time that law was put into place? How many years back?
Well, we revised it a couple months ago.
Writing tickets, we write tickets.
Oh, do you?
Fire department writes tickets, yes.
Okay. All right, no, that's fine. I just want to know why. And as far as parking on Jackson, again, love the Mulberry. I've eaten there plenty of times, but it is a residential parking area. And it does get congested very, very much. If you have a trailer or if you have something pulled behind, pulling in those driveways are impossible. Now, again, we have, like I submitted, you have all that on the other side of the bridge, which you can put a parking lot, fix the bridge, have them maintain it, lease it out to them for so many years, make money on it, and then have them parking there alternate.
Yeah,
Because parking right now is crazy. Jackson Street is the only street that really gets it. The rest of Bethlehem Park does not get that kind of congestion.
Are you
If
talking
they
about the
did,
pedestrian bridge?
pardon?
Talking about the pedestrian bridge?
Yes,
I don't-
although it's condemned.
Yeah, that's the issue.
But I did talk to the company, and I put that on my letter, the company right across the street on the other side of Rapistack. They do metal work, and they even said they would help fund or put whatever they could to redo the bridge. So you do have help, and it would make it much nicer for the city. You have a nice walking area. It's safer for taking a bicycle instead of trying to go on Route 5 up to the bike path. You could go over the bridge and go right up down the street, get onto the bike path. The other way, you're right on, Hamburg Turnpike. So I think there's got to be something that the Mulberry and the city could do to make something work to help the congestion. Because as soon as winter comes, it's alternate parking, and it's even worse. And that's just, again, only on Jackson. Maybe on a side street, maybe Spruce, there might be a couple cars also, but I think there's something that I think the city could do to help, rectify that. And again, it's a way to make money. It's all about making money here. And it's about pleasing your residents. And you're beautifying Bethlehem Park, and you can have a nice little walkway.
Yeah.
That's all I have to ask. Consider it.
Anyone have any questions, Mr. Stransky, any comments? Mr. Stransky, thank you very much. We'll take your letter under advisement. Mr. Kwasniewski, you wish to address the city council?
John Kwasniewski, 270 Center Street, Lackawanna. Number 13, Willett Road with the electric LLC. I was at the meetings when they first came into town and were asking for permission to use the land and rent the land or buy it. They wanted to do either one of them, but I guess we rented it to them, right? And they said that they were gonna have the grass cut from Willett Road to a whole project. They're gonna take care of it, they're gonna maintain all the property. Now that grass in front is as tall as I am. And it ain't being taken care of. Now you're doing something right now with them. Is there anything in there that you just talked about that?
Mr. Judah, Mr. Stan, anything about that issue with the?
Actually, I went out there a couple months ago and I did not observe that condition. I have, as far as what we're doing right now, they had leased the whole of the property and they were going to release the lease from about 2/3 of the property so that we can try to get it back into
Yeah, they don't want to
productive
maintain
use. I think it's more than that, but anyways, yeah, okay. I got it.
But that grass, something has to be done with that. The neighbor's right there, right next to it.
So
It's
what
just tall.
we'll do is the part that we're taking back, if it needs, we'll talk to Tony DeSantis, and if we have to get our crew down there, we will. If it's a part that they're using, we'll ask them to maintain it to some minimum.
They said they were gonna
standards.
maintain the whole thing and cut the grass and everything, make sure no problem.
Yeah.
I could see there,
They did say that.
if I was living next to them, I'd be bitching. I'll tell you that.
That's in my ward, they were supposed to cut the grass every month and they were supposed to
Right.
maintain it. They were supposed to plant a bunch of trees there.
Yeah, along that whole property line.
I didn't see no trees.
Yeah.
I seen a bunch of bushes and stuff. They were supposed to clean all that debris up in front.
Yep. That ain't done.
Yeah. well, So, I don't know.
So that's something for you
The code
to
is
tell.
again.
And,
Well, if it wasn't,
I think it was in the agreement too.
In the
It
site,
was.
there were plantings in the, there were
I
plantings.
remember calling Mayor Szymanski and telling him, don't sign anything with them people because they didn't finish up what they were supposed to do.
yeah.
I cannot confirm or deny
Oh.
that.
That advice of council?
That's right.
And 16, I say you're gonna rent, well, not rent, but give the Franklin Playground to soccer. The number on that, but the basketball courts in there are a disgrace. The lines and everything, it has to be all done again. The painting of the lines and all that stuff, and Victory Playground too, I think it's the same.
They're all bad.
It's a
You gotta-
disgrace.
You gotta do that
They're-
this year. Do
they're
at least
bad.
one or two a year. We're way behind on that. None of them are up to snuff, I don't think.
And where the kids had the swings and everything, you got the chippings in there, it's grass growing through there now instead of chipping.
Well, we're working to get wood chips throughout the city. There's already a couple playgrounds where it's been topped over with new wood chips, and we found the funding for mats to go under the swing so that the kids can't kick away the chips. Yeah, that's going to be filled in. It's going to be properly covered with mats to maintain the level surface underneath. So that portion of your complaint is already in the works. As far as the basketball courts, Councilman Cernick has brought that up on past occasions, and it's certainly something that I would love to be able to get funding for. If we could, either resurface or replace basketball courts, I would love to be able to do that. So that's a discussion for possibly our next budget. To like you said, maybe one or two a year, because the cost is prohibitive to do them all at once. But if we could do it bit by bit, I'd certainly welcome that.
We're gonna reach out to Harris Beach and say, hey, this bond.
I don't think they have the blacktop. Again, I think they have that filler that they put in there. It's like the sealer they put on it. There's a filler that goes in there and everything.
Yeah.
Got weeds growing through most of them. One in each floor. I go down there with the weed killer and kill all the weeds growing up.
But as for that soccer field, I'm actually glad, because I just love when our assets are being used. So
Yeah.
if the charter school needs this, then that tells me that there's a need for them for soccer, which is great. And I just love hearing kids playing and using our resources, because that means that it's right. So Brian, good job on that.
Thank you.
That used to be the best playground for baseball right there. Franklin.
Never
Now-
played baseball, so don't blame me. I don't play baseball.
They have a handball court.
Oh, yeah, that was great. Okay, the lights, they say they're all done in the city now, with the new lights they put in, street lights.
The LEDs.
Check out one more so, because that light ain't done. It's still the same old light. And
Was it right across from Merce?
Right from Merce.
Okay. Yep.
Main pole, right there in the corner,
Just as dark as the Bard Zone.
There's other ones there on across the street, they're all changed, but that one ain't. I think maybe he's mad at us. On Milnor, they blacked out that street, Milnor Avenue. Who's the person that makes sure that the job is done right? Who's the inspector on that job?
I would think our Commissioner of Public Works would be responsible for that, but
He's not here.
he's not here today, so I don't know how to answer your question.
Well, 116 Milnor, if I was gonna approve that job, it would never got approved. There's a manhole there, 116. You gotta go up and over it. And the snow plows during the winter, I'm surprised that one isn't gonna take out the plow with that manhole.
And it's not that these aren't important things, but we have a long agenda,
Yeah.
and these aren't agenda items, right?
I know. Okay. How about Center Street? When are you gonna start on that?
How about what?
Center Street.
Center Street's gonna be, I think our Mr. DeSantis just signed the final agreement today. So everything is in line for the bids to go out. That will start once the bids come in and there's a contract awarded. And for the public's consumption, while you're asking about that, Mr. DeSantis also indicated to me that the remilling and resurfacing of Ridge Road should begin within a week. Now, that's going to entail concrete work first, but the signs will be starting to go up and Ridge Road will be worked on, resurfaced, remilled, and relined, restriped the old way with the center line in the center of the street. And that should be done shortly, that'll be begun within the next week. But the concrete work is gonna start first.
That's what gets me. Center Street's been on the agenda for 4 or 5 years now. Never done.
Right.
Well, here's Ridge Road. Within months, it's time.
Well,
But we had a problem with the sewer district because they were not acknowledging the contract that they couldn't find. And then we found it, and they were, the abandoned lines that were collapsing was, they were trying to say it was city's responsibility, when in fact, it was their responsibility, and they knew it the whole time. So that holdup was prevented from being done in CDBG funding 5 years.
That shouldn't be like a 4 or 5 year holdup. That should be done in a year, at least one of them problems. Even if they have to replace all the sewers, it could be done in a year.
okay, we need to begin.
Saying.
Thank you, Jack.
All right, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of July 12th, 2021.
Moreno moves to adopt minutes as written.
Second.
Motion by Morano, second by Samansky, to adopt minutes as written. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Departmental reports 1 through 7.
Moreno moves to receive and file departmental reports 1 through 7 inclusive.
Ingram second.
Motion by Morano, second by Ingram, to receive and file departmental reports 1 through 7. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky. Yes. Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Communications from the council, number 8. Councilmember Ingram requests information from the Director of Development regarding the following items: the Empire Building Diagnostics Incorporation moving from the Pew to the former Breakbeat Building at 400 Ingham. He has asked for a tour of the old Beckham Steel Plant site. He's yet to receive any follow-up on that request. And he was concerned about the plan regarding an incomplete gas station and old church, both located on Ridge Road. Both are owned by the same individual. And also, he also asked the Director of Public Safety to assist the Lackawanna Municipal Housing Authority with an ongoing problem they're having with cars parked on the sidewalk. And all that was addressed, of course, during caucus.
Motion to receive and file.
Amend the motion to receive and file, refer to law department and development.
Second motion. The amendment.
I have a motion by Morano and second by Samansky to amend the communication to refer to the law department and the Director of Development for review and possible solutions. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 9, Councilmember Samansky requested the council approve the attached salutation at city welcome entrances, which is birthplace of Governor Kathy Hochul, 57th Governor of the State of New York, first female Governor of the Empire State.
I'd like to make a motion to approve pending this actually happening.
Moreno seconds.
So I've got a motion by Samansky, second by Morano to
We
approve
all
request.
second
At
Yeah,
all?
that's fine.
At
Okay,
all.
so I've got an et al. On the second to approve request pending Lieutenant Governor officially taking office as Governor of New York State. If approved, refer to the DPW Commissioner for signage. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Communications from Department Division Heads, number 10, City Attorney requests City Council approve the attached contract between the city and the county of Erie funds to be used to upgrade the fire department's 9/11 system.
Moreno moves to approve request.
Ready, second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 11, City Attorney requests City Council approve the attached contract between the city and Harris Beach Bond Council Services.
Moreno moves to approve request.
Ready, second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky. Yes. Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 12, City Attorney requests City Council approve the attached contract between the city and Varsity Gate League.
Moreno moves to approve request.
Second.
Motion by Morano, second by Samansky to approve request. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Approved, passed 5-0. Number 13, City Attorney requests City Council approve the attached amendment agreement between the city and Willett Road Solar LLC.
Moreno moves to approve request.
Ready, second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 14, Director of Recreation requests City Council approve the Lackawanna DPW to utilize the U-Drive at 2838 South Park Avenue to hold a second annual drive-through charity chicken barbecue for the Lackawanna DPW Christmas Toy Drive. The event will take place on Saturday, October 9th, 2021, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Food will be prepared on-site by Widener's. Barbecue, proof of insurance forthcoming.
Moreno moves to approve request pending proof of insurance.
Second, you're right.
Motion by Morano, second by Sirdike to approve request pending proof of insurance. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 15, Director of Recreation, request City Council allow resident LA Urban Farms member Rebecca Rusev to address the council, discuss the possibility of utilizing Gliding Park to host an after-school wellness program.
Morano moves to approve request to speak during a portion of the meeting. Item number 20.
So we have a motion by Morano, second by Sirdike, to approve her speaking to the council, receive and file her presentation, refer to the Director of Development, Director of Recreation, and Law Department for input.
Thank you.
Does that sound good?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 16, Director of Recreation, request City Council approve a request for the use of Franklin Playground for use by Global Concepts Charter High School soccer team as per the attached schedule. Proof of insurance forthcoming.
Morano moves to approve request pending proof of insurance.
Ingram second.
Motion by Morano, second by Ingram to approve request pending proof of insurance. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 17, City Controller request City Council approve the attached ordinance creating the Assistant Controller's position and associated funding.
Morano moves to receive and file act on ordinance.
Second.
Motion by Morano, second by Samansky, receive and file act on ordinance. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. The ordinance amending the 2021-2022 budget ordinance adopted May 18, 2021 by increasing the salary for the Assistant Controller to $62,500 and fund the current position, increase the budget line for personal services City Controller by $5,914, and decrease the fund balance by $5,914.
Morano moves to adopt ordinance as written.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to adopt ordinance as written. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 18, City Clerk requests City Council approve Mayor Iafallo, Council Members Sirdike and Samansky, City Attorney Rick Judah, and myself to attend the New York State Conference of Mayors NICOM Annual Fall Training to be held the week of September 20th in Saratoga Springs. Monies for travel are already budgeted in each department's 2021-2022 budget. In addition, council approval is needed for the attached resolution changing the date of the regular council meeting of Monday, September 20th, 2021 to Monday, September 27th, 2021.
Morano moves to approve travel requests and act on resolutions.
Motion by Morano, second by Samansky to approve the amended travel request and act on resolution. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
5-0. Carried. The resolution as per Chapter 3, Section 3.7 of the Charter of the City of Lackawanna, whereas the City Council is desirous with complying with the Open Meetings Law of the State of New York and is desirous of changing the meeting date of Monday, September 20th, 2021 to Monday, September 27th, 2021.
Morano moves to adopt resolution as written.
Ingram second.
Motion by Morano, second by Ingram to adopt resolution as written. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
It's not a Monday Night Football game, is it?
I don't have the schedule, so.
Okay, yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Got me all flustered, Councilman Samansky, because now I'm concerned.
I am too.
No, it's not. Communications from citizens, number 19. Steve Safransky, resident submits communication regarding the current parking condition on Jackson Street and use of fire pits.
Morano moves to receive and file and to thank Mr. Safransky for his concerns and his interests and his suggestions.
I second with the sentiment and the motion.
Motion by Morano, second by Samansky to receive and file. Appreciation to Mr. Safransky for his concerns. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Number 20, Rebecca Rusev, resident, see communication number 15 above. We've already addressed that. Number 21, Emily Hawkins, Edentown Clerk, submits a certified copy of a resolution passed by the Town of Edentown Board on the 28th day of July, 2021, affirming the Skyway Bridge is essential to their community for commerce, revitalization, access to employment, public safety, and efficient travel to points north, and opposes its removal or restrictions to vehicle use.
Morano moves to receive and file.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to receive and file. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Need a motion to waive the rules?
Morano moves to waive the rules.
We have a motion by Morano, second by Samansky to waive the rules. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Passed 5-0. Number 22, Kevin Pagliai, President, Lackawanna Little Football, requests City Council approve the use of Veterans Stadium for the purpose of practicing there between September 1st, 2021 to November 13th, 2021. Proof of insurance attached.
Morano moves to approve request.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Business registrations. Kadas Mohammed doing business as Statewide Auto Plus, which is an auto repair and used car dealer, 180 Ridge Road.
Morano move to approve business request registration.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve business registration. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Sarah Barber doing business as SRI Fire Sprinkler LLC, which is a satellite office for printing and emailing for a sprinkler contractor, 2600 Amber Turnpike.
Morano moves to approve business registration.
Ingram second.
Motion by Morano, second by Ingram to approve business registration. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Michael Barnes doing business as Yard Sale Produce, which is a farmer's market, 142 Wilson Street.
Morano moves to approve business registration.
Ingram second.
Motion by Morano, second by Ingram to approve business registration. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Christine Haralzik doing business as Willett Farm Stand, which sells produce and locally made products, 2221 Everett Road.
Morano moves to approve business registration.
Second, Sirdike.
Motion by Morano, second by Sirdike to approve business registration. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Entertainment licenses. I think we could take care of both of these in one fell swoop. Nightcap, 1769 Abbott Road, and Lake Erie Co-op Society, 3200 South Park Avenue. They're both applying for a Class 1 live music and/or mechanical reproduction.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Sirdike, second by Morano to approve Class 1 entertainment license for the above named businesses. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky.
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Mr. Council President.
As the council members, any tabled items or items of old business you wish to bring up at this time?
Please don't kill me. At the last meeting, we discussed waiving the permit fee for the food truck at the concert. And we wanted to revisit that. They are the same outfit, O'Brien's Farm Fresh Kitchen. They were disappointed in the sales the first time around because frankly, I didn't get the word out quickly enough because I was waiting for the permit process to follow through. They see growth potential and the potential to make this a long-term relationship. But with the slow sales at the last event, they feel in part, large part due to the lack of word of mouth and lack of advertising on our part, and I should say my part, that if they had to pay for the permit for this coming concert, they would just as soon skip it. But if it was waived, they would come back and try to give it a go one more time.
What is the date of that concert?
It's this Thursday.
Then we have to move to take that item off the table, don't we? It was tabled?
It wasn't tabled, but since we've already waived the rules,
Yes.
we could make this inclusive.
We'll include that, then we have to do that by motion.
No, we'll have to do it by motion to approve his request, but not the waiving of the rules. No, Brian, what's the name of the company?
O'Brien's Farm Fresh Kitchen.
So I make a motion to waive the permit fee for O'Brien's Farm Fresh Kitchen for our event coming up
Thursday, what date would that be?
19th.
19th, and are we going to restrict it again to that one-time
For one-time
exemption?
Yes, this won't come up until next year
Another
again.
question, what if anybody else's food truck shows up? Maybe another one?
Well, they don't have a permit. I mean, I've attempted to contact other vendors with.
Well, I know, they don't need a permit, do they?
No, they need a permit.
They need a
They're just getting
permit.
the fee waived.
Oh,
These people
okay.
actually applied in the
Oh,
clerk's office.
Okay, I got you. I was gonna say, maybe somebody else will show up too.
Morano
Food
seconds.
truck.
Okay, so we have a motion by Samansky, second by Morano to waive the fee for O'Brien's Farm Fresh Kitchen for the concert series to be held at Galani Park Thursday, August 19, 2021. This will be considered a one-time exception. Ingram.
Yes.
Samansky. Yes. Moretti.
Yes.
Survey.
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0.
We can make a motion to.
Wait, I got something from the last meeting, and this is probably my fault, if I didn't follow up on it. But at the last meeting, resident Joe Longo sent in about the railroad property, all the overgrowth. Now there's all railroad cars parked there. They're parked behind Marino, they're parked over by Willett. We moved to refer to the law department to draft a resolution requesting action by the railroad, whoever owns that, so. The Mr. Judah, I'll be in touch with you, on that. I'd like to get that done by the next meeting.
I would like to add some information to that. When I was mayor, we were having press conferences because they were storing those tankers
Right.
behind
Now they got new
properties.
cars back. At
Well,
least
hold
they're
on,
new
well, hold on.
anyway.
So we spoke to them and they said that a portion of that line from Martin Road heading towards the charter school was severed, and that they severed their relationship with that track. In fact, they even took a line out, a rail line out, right? And so when we spoke to them back when I was mayor, and Commissioner DeSantis was in my office with this, they said they decommissioned that line and it's not to be used. And then they said they gave it to the city for rails to trails. And I said, no, you did not, because we would have to accept liability for that. And we never did, and we never will, because you just can't sit around and say, we no longer want responsibility of an old train line. So with that information, when I drove by and saw those lines behind Love Terrace and behind Willow Road heading into Blaisdell, that blew my mind that they not only lied to me, but I have no idea what their stance is of their ownership.
Cars over there.
And they said they abandoned, they gave it away, which they never did. So just keep that in mind, city attorney, when you address them, that they are not keeping their word in their
They're good
conversations.
neighbors. I don't know what we can do.
So just some background information on that. That's what I'm letting you know.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? If not, then Miranda moves to adjourn meeting.
I'd like to adjourn the memory of Mary Reed.
And it's spelled
Maryreed. If there's anybody else who'd like to adjourn in the memory of someone, now is the time.
All right, so we have a motion by Mariano, second by Samansky to adjourn the meeting in memory of Mary Reed. Ingram,
Yes.
Yes.
Samansky, Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano,
Yes.
carried 5-0. Thanks, everybody.